The consent calendar, all items are considered routine or implemented earlier council action and may be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion unless requested by a council member or staff. Any action on the consent calendar?
Through the chair, I'd like to pull 7E as an elephant.
All right, 7E. Anything else?
If there's nothing else, I'll move to approve the rest of the consent.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the remainder of the consent calendar. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item 7E, waive the second reading, adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 8.24, Section 8.24200 of the San Bruno Municipal Code relating to private sewer laterals. Mr. Ibarra.
There's been a lot of activity on this, speaking to the public, and some of the public is here to voice their opinion on this. I, again, want to stress how I believe that it's wrong that we take this responsibility and place it on the homeowners. Going through the minutes and looking at things, it's still what I feel is still a misunderstanding. Is what we have done is that we've placed the responsibility of the lower lateral on all of our residents, and the fact that some 25% have a clean out really doesn't make any difference. What it does is that there is a unknown. There is a strong unknown as to what that first resident is going to encounter when that lower sewer lateral breaks. We all know what an upper lateral does. We all know what that entails and how that repairs. The fact that for 100 years the city has been taking care of the lower laterals, and now one fell swoop we are now placing all that responsibility on our homeowners, and so I just feel that it's still something that we should encounter in the near future and deal with a plan. But I still believe that there's a lot of people in this community who don't understand what's going to happen and feel that it's wrong that the city has placed that responsibility on the homeowners.
Okay. Any action on 7E?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion second to approve item 7E under consent. All in favor?
Aye.
On the question,
Opposed?
there are members of the public. Can they speak on this?
Yeah, I guess we can.
Or during public comment would be preferred.
Well, it's on the agenda. So.
Okay.
Just tell us your name and your street.
Mike McGurk, 1740 Santa Lucia. I'm kind of confused, and I'd like to test understanding. Has it been passed that right now, if something happens to the lower lateral, am I responsible, or are we in limbo?
Okay.
So it's a little more complicated than just a yes or no question, so let me make sure I address it properly. If I don't answer your question, let me know, okay? And I'll take another crack at it. So under the new policy that in the ordinance, if it's adopted tonight, that would mean that the city would continue to provide emergency service if you had a problem with your lower lateral, and if you have an approved clean out, the city will also continue to provide maintenance services for you. However, if the lateral is damaged and either needs to be repaired or replaced, the new ordinance would put that obligation on the property owner.
I would just add, if the ordinance is passed tonight by vote of the City Council, it would not take effect for 30 days.
Okay. So if it's not passed, it'll stay like it was. Upper lateral will be our responsibility. If it's passed, the lower.
Through the chair, may I say something?
Go ahead.
Right now, for 75% of the people, the responsibility of the lateral, both lower and upper, is on you. Right now, if we pass this or not. The only time the city takes responsibility for the lower lateral is when you have a city-approved clean-out. That's the change.
Okay.
So
I have the approved clean-out.
Okay.
But my concern is beyond the clean-out, that now there's a possibility I've got to have the street dug up. And I don't know how deep, and there's others here that their lower lateral goes across driveways, neighbors' driveways. So that's going to open up a can of worms. Is the homeowner responsible to dig up his neighbor's driveway and street if this is passed?
If your lower lateral fails and you have nothing, you haven't already had maintenance on it, then yes.
I just hope the vote comes more positive than the last one. Thank you.
There are a lot of situations in town where there's, commingled laterals, and I think they have to be handled on a per-case basis. I think we had one on Chestnut not too long ago that was the issue there too. But for most people right now, it's your responsibility anyway. All right. I did the same thing. I had to replace I didn't have a clean out, so I had to replace the lateral, put a clean out in. From the clean out to the street is fine, but I understand going forward. And the city comes every 6 months, and takes a look at it. And if there's tree roots or something, they'll do a little ream, or they'll put some stuff down there and stop it. But they'll give you a notice way ahead of time if they think something serious is happening. We have also offered, not the city offered, to partner with, and some people call it insurance, but it's not, about $9 a month that would take care of that situation should it occur. So it's costing us potentially millions of dollars to do this, which is not really budgeted for. And people talk about the rates that we've increased, and they are, for a lot of the complaints we're getting for I&I infiltration of our sewer system. We're treating in heavy rain type situations rainwater. And so we have to correct that main sewer problem, and that's what those big rates are for. They're not to take care of, frankly, your sewer lateral. So we made the decision, as other cities have done, that in fact it should be the responsibility of the homeowner if in fact you have an approved clean out and there is a failure of that lower lateral. That's the way it is. Now, there's lots of different opinions on that, and some people don't agree, but we had to look at the dollars and cents of it too, because it's not a few $1,000s here or there. It's running into 7 figures for the city to take care of those. So, Mr. Medina?
Yes, Marty Medina, Garden Avenue. I'm here to speak against the change, and I wanted to clarify that although there are 75% of the people currently that where it does not affect you, or I'm sorry, right. If you don't have a clean out now, if you put a clean out tomorrow, the city's responsible from the clean out to the street. And as a former public works inspector, that's what happens. Somebody finds there's a problem out in the street. Our sewer department goes out there and says, hey, you don't have a clean out, but if you put a clean out, the city will take over from the clean out to the street. So I don't see the rush really now. Currently, from what I looked in the budget, it's budgeted for $500,000 in repairs. After this change, there'll still be $100,000 in the budget to fix lower laterals. So it doesn't have to happen tonight, but if it's your choice, I'm asking you not to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Russ Steins, Reed Avenue. I'm a little confused, Mr. Mayor. You said that these raises that we have on our water and sewer are because for all the I&I that we're doing. And I sure remember here about, 3, 4 years, 5 years ago, we were in a recession, and a bunch of elderly came up here and said they wouldn't be able to afford the rates, and people were losing their homes, and you guys said you had this plan because you were going to rebuild the sewer and the water system in San Bruno, and that's what was going to get done. So I don't see that happening so fast here, but I do see more rates being increased every council meeting. All I see is I sometimes wonder if anybody here knows anything other than the word I up there. Thank you.
Those repairs are being done, and we have asked Public Works for an update.
And Mr. Mayor, through the chair, if I may, the staff report indicates that we're going to be coming back to you at the next meeting with an update on the program and responses to a number of the questions that were raised at the last meeting.
Right. Mr. Peterson?
Just to make sure, as some of important points aren't overlooked. That is that the citizens of the city of San Bruno over the past, maybe 15, 20 years, maybe it's a little more, since 1986 anyway, have paid millions of dollars to be covered by this provision of the ordinance that the city would replace the lower lateral from the cleanout to the main. And there's been a key piece of information that might as well be a state secret. It's so often not known by the residents who don't have cleanouts. And that is that if they put a cleanout in, then the city would take care of the lower lateral from the cleanout to the main. If that were information were simply in the utility bill once a month as a provision, then they can consider it. If they don't know it's a possibility, they can't even consider it. So I would, again, urge that you not abandon ordinance 1986-64. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
What I'd like, if I could, Mr. Mayor, is just whether you put a clean out in, and many speakers have gotten up there and said, if you put a clean out in tomorrow, the city will maintain your lower lateral, and until if this ordinance passes, the city will not replace your lower lateral, just like your upper lateral. But today, until this ordinance is passed, the city will take care of that lateral no matter what happens if you have a, if you have a clean out. What my concern is, and what the Vice Mayor brought up at our last hearing, is that there are cities who have proactively come up with programs to place cleanouts on properties with the provision that if your lower lateral is in good shape, then the city will still maintain it and still be responsible for it. If it is not, then it's the property owner's responsibility to repair it, replace it, until that's done, then they'll certify the clean out, and then the city will still take control of it. That's the program that I think is what the city should be responsible for our residents. Not to just say, we're taking care of the main, and anything that connects up to our main is not our problem. Basically what you're saying. And homeowners are not privy to all that stuff that's going on underground. We've gone from upper laterals to sidewalks, now to lower laterals. What's next? How would you like to be paying for your own street repairs? You got a pothole in front of your house, now that's going to be your responsibility. This is what I'm saying, is that because the costs are getting so high, we don't want to budget for it. I think we should.
Okay. Anything else? Item 7E, we do have a motion and a second to pass on the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, if that's 3 aye, 2 no.